Today we're going to talk about circles. We have two different things that we can find with circles. We can find circumference, which is like the perimeter of a circle. And then we also have area. And we're going to focus on area. So the area, of course, is that space inside. When we talk about area, we have a formula that has an exponent in it. A equals pi. This is said pi, P-I. We use the number 3.14 for pi, or A is equal to pi times r, because this squared is only on the r. So you need to multiply the radius. So let me go back on a couple things I forgot. On a circle, we have a distance that goes all the way across a circle, which is called the diameter. We use the letter D for diameter. Or we have a distance that goes halfway across, which is called the radius. We use the letter R. Radius is equal to the diameter cut in half, okay? Or we can say the diameter is 2 times the radius. But when we are finding area, it's very important that we are only looking at this halfway piece, the radius. So if they give us a diameter, we're going to have to cut it in half. Now, there are some special cases for pi. Pi is 3.14 approximately. You've seen the poster in my room. It just keeps going and going and going. Or we can write it as 22/7 as a fraction. We only use 22/7 when we have a multiple of 7. Now, and if we come across one of those, I'll show you. Otherwise, we're really just using 3.14. So if we're going to find the area, we're going to use 3.14 for pi and the nearest hundredth. So we always write our formula. A equals pi r squared. So now we're going to plug in our numbers. We're going to use A equals 3.14 times. Now when I have this squared, I always draw little like tree branches because I need to write my radius 2 times. Now I can multiply. Well, I know 3 times 3 is 9. Pi is dessert, save it for last is what I always say. So multiply all your other numbers if you can. 36, 12, 28, don't forget to move your decimal, 1, 2. So the area of this circle is 28.26 centimeters squared. So again, we're still just using a formula and we're just plugging it in. This one is a little different, okay? Before we had a radius, this is a diameter. So we are going to need to take 23 and cut it in half. Sorry, that's 11. 2 decimal. So we have a radius of 11.5. And then we would say A equals pi r squared. A equals 3.14 times 11.5 times 11.5. And this is going to get big real quick, so we have to be very careful. So I'm going to do my math over here. Remember, that is not 11.5 times 2. That is 11.5 times 11.5. My pen has stopped writing. There we go. Don't forget your placeholder, and you need to be very cautious when you do this. 5, 1, 1, 2 placeholders. 5, 1, 1, 12, 12, 3, and 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. But I still need to do that times 3.14. 20, 10, 9, 12, 5, placeholder, 5, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2 placeholders, 15, carry the 1, that's a 7, 6, 9, 3, 5, 11 and 5 is 16. 5 and 7 is 12. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 11 and 4. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the area here is 415. It said to the nearest hundredth, which is here. So this 5 is going to make this be 27 inches squared. So it's really just a bunch of multiplication, but make sure you're putting the right numbers in. When I look at my next page, I've got a couple of try these. Round to the nearest hundred. Now notice that this is a radius. A equals pi r squared. So this is going to be A equals 3.14 times 11 times 11. And I know 11 times 11 is 121. So 121 times 3.14. 484, placeholder 121, 2 placeholders is going to be 3 and a 6 and a 3. My screen moved. There we go. So 4, 9, 8, 9, 10, 11, 8 and 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. So the area here is 381.94 millimeters squared. Okay. You can try letter D here. Remember, this is a diameter. So you need to find the radius of 3.5. So I'll give you a minute to do that. So hopefully you had a minute to do that. You should have come up with area is 38. It says 465. So we'll round that to 47. And again, feet squared. So then we can talk about how do you know if you're looking for area or circumference. So again, just think about area versus perimeter. Amount of mulch needed to cover. Cover is an area word. The amount of fencing needed. So fencing goes around. So this is circumference. And we'll talk about circumference probably next week. The distance traveled in one lap around. Again, around. So circumference. The amount of running room a dog has in a circular pen, so that's going to be area. Frosting needed to cover. Cover is going to be area. Come up, okay, so a couple more for you to try and check your work. A circular pond has a diameter of 20. That means the radius is 10. What is the area? So A equals pi r squared. 3.14 times 10 times 10. 10 times 10 is 100. So 3.14 times 100, just move your decimal, is 314, and it was feet squared. I did want to show you letter G specifically, because now you're going to have to work backwards and use your knowledge of solving equations. So the area, A equals pi r squared, and we have area equals, I'm sorry, let's put the number for the area. 153.86 is equal to 3.14 times something squared. Well, we know we're multiplying, so the inverse is to divide. So I'm going to come over here. Remember, you can't have a decimal outside when you divide. So we're going to have to move that. 1, 2. If we move it 2 on the outside, we move it 2 on the inside. 314 does not go into 153. It goes into 1538. We could try probably 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 1, that's a 5 and a 12. So 2, we're going to have to borrow here. 2, 2, 8, and a 6, which we did on the front. It was a 9. So 9, 36, carry the 3 is 12, 28. So we have now that 49 is equal to something times itself. So we need to think backwards. What times itself is 49? Well, 7. So our radius is 7, and our diameter is going to be 14, because remember we talked about at the front, diameter is 2 times the radius. So I'm going to let you try letter H. So if you want to pause me and then come back. If Anthony used this area to cover, what is the diameter? So again, area equals pi r squared, 78.5 equals 3.14 times r squared. So we're going to divide by 0.14. Make sure you move your decimal. 1, 2, 1, 2. So now I need to add a 0. So 785, we could try a 2. Is 8, carry the, no carrying. 2, 6, gotta borrow, is 157, bring down the 0. And we can say 5. 5 times 4 is 20, 7, 15. So that means that 25 is equal to something times itself. Well, what times itself is 25? 5 is the radius. Now, but they want the diameter. So the diameter, 5 times 2 is 10. So those are a little bit more tricky. Please let me know if you have any questions.